Hello YouTube, this is my first video in a very long time, 3 months to be exact. Um, I stopped recording for a very long time after about Christmas break when my school had exams and things got stressful and I became a little bit uninspired. But today I felt a little bit inspired to make a video, and so here I am. This video I wanted to cover getting started in Garry's mod. This topic came to my attention because I have a friend at school. His name is Caden, and he bought the game, but he does not know how to just begin and enjoy the game because it is an awesome game, and I just want to share that with him. He, I'll link his channel in the description. He does paintball videos if you want to check that out. But to begin, when you open up Garry's mod, it's just this screen. You've got your start new game, find multiplayer game, add-ons, and these are mainly the three buttons that you'll be using in the game. You don't really touch these too much, and but then these two, obviously, that's personalization and quitting, obviously. So the main thing, the end of the game that you're gonna want to start out with is sandbox. It's this game mode right down here. You see I have a few down here, but this is the sandbox one that you're gonna want to start out with just to kind of get the feel of the game. So you click start new game, and it takes a few seconds. Everything kind of takes a few seconds. You're probably just going to see this. These are all the add-ons and extra games that I have. But you're gonna want to go to the sandbox tab, and I guess most people either start on flatgrass or construct. Um, I started on flatgrass, so that is what I'm going to show in the video. Just gonna go down here and click start game, and it takes a few seconds to get started. That's just about everything in Garry's mod. Um, there's a lot of loading and waiting and initializing, but that's just how the game goes. Um, so yeah, I think I'll skip forward once this finishes. Okay, so I'm back. This is what you will spawn into once you finish loading. And it's just like any other game. You're going to move around with WASD and look with the mouse button. That's pretty obvious. But the fun begins when you press the Q button. Button, not buttoned. And it's going to open up the menu where you can spawn in pretty much everything and have all the fun of the game. This is where all the spawning occurs and just pretty much about everything. You're not going to see a lot of the stuff that I have here. I disabled all my add-ons for this video, but apparently they're still there. I don't know why that happens. Um, but you're going to see a lot of objects. For example, I guess a filing cabinet. If you click on it, it's going to spawn it in front of you. And this is considered to be a prop. What you have in your hand is a phys gun, or physics gun. That's just shortened. And you can interact with props by left-clicking and moving them around. This is how you build. You can use a scroll wheel to move them closer and farther away from you. And then you can hold down the E button and then move the mouse button to rotate it. If you move the mouse to the left and right, it'll rotate it sideways. But if you move it up and down, it'll tilt it up and down. But if you hold down Shift while holding down E, it will snap the prop to a 45-degree angle, like so. And that's any direction. As previously stated, you can even do a weird angle like this. And then there are two ways to get rid of a prop if you just don't like what you did. You can hold down C, right click on the prop, and click on remove, and that'll get rid of it. Or let's say you just spawn this in, you can press the Z key and it will just undo it. And that's just for just about anything. So next thing, if you hold down C like you did for the deleting the prop earlier, you'll see up here is the player model button. This photon thing will not be there for you if you don't have any add-ons, of course. My apologies. But you click on player model and you'll see all of these. You might not have these either. These are add-ons, which should not be there, except for this portal one. But pretty much you can click on any of these, and that's how you will see yourself in cameras, or other players will see if you're playing multiplayer. I guess I'll choose G-Man for the sake of this tutorial. You can look around at him if you are into that. But then you can also go to the Colors tab, and this is where you can choose your fizz gun color, which mine's on black. I just prefer that color. It's also got an invisible beam if you like that. But the player color, you can see it's changing the color of his suit. That color changes something different for just about every player, um, player model, that is. But if you spawn in a camera, which is under the render tab here, you can hold down or click the right click button, and you'll place a camera that follows you no matter where you go. And then as you can see, I have it set to numpad 8 to activate it. You can change this by clicking on it, and let's say I want to change it to the 5 on the numpad key. You just press that and it'll change it. And then you can press 5, and it's not doing anything. What the heck? Okay. Okay, so let's just press the 8 key then. That didn't work. And you see I'm still Kleiner. So the only way to get your player model update is to kill yourself. And then you can do this by going through your weapons here with the scroll wheel, or you can just press the button and it'll change it. But what you want to go to is the RPG. That's the easiest way to kill yourself in this game. You can aim at your feet and click the button, and you'll be blown sky high. Now you click to respawn once you get that red screen. And now, as you can see in the camera, I am G-Man in a black suit, like I changed it to. And that's the player models. You can download add-ons to get player models that the game doesn't necessarily come with, if you just want to be another character. And yeah, that's how you do player models. The next thing is the constraints. That's a big part of the building, obviously. I'll go ahead and run quickly through all of them. Let's say I have a barrel here and I don't know, maybe a door. The first one is the axis tool. If you go ahead and click on this, this is all specifications on probably stuff you won't be touching too much when you first get into it. At least with an axis, you pretty much don't want to limit anything. I prefer to no collide it just because it helps out with building. But you're just going to look at the door and you're going to click on it, and you see now where my cursor goes, the door is going like a little ghost of it. And if I click on top of the barrel, I can just click on it, and as you can see, I'm stuck. And so a big part of the sandbox game is no clipping, and you can achieve this by pressing V. And then you can fly out of it, fly around, you can fly into it, because it is no clip, you're no collided. You can fly into the ground, you can fly up, down. That is a big part of building, is the no clip. So that's how you can get out of props if you ever get stuck. And you can press the V key to return to the ground. Now, since I axis this onto there, it will freely spin on top of the barrel. If I look up and down, it won't move. It's just along this axis that it will spin. And that's how the axis works. You can make wheels with this. You can do a lot of cool stuff with the axis tool, but that's that. And see, I just press C to remove that. Next is the ball socket. This is pretty much like a door. Let's say I have this prop and a door prop. I can put this right next to it and click on the ball socket tool. Once again, you can specify how much force is on there before the constraint breaks. And same thing with the torque. And once again, I'm going to no collide it. And you can click on the door and then click on this prop, and then I'll do it at the bottom too. Door and then this prop. And this has allowed me to move the door side to side. It's a little bit glitchy since I didn't do it straight, but you get the idea. It goes left and right, and it won't go up and down, but just left and right. It's bound to that. So the main thing you do with that is doors, as you can see here. You can do trapdoors. You can do a lot of stuff with the ball socket. Next up is the elastic tool. This is just about your, self-explanatory. It's elastic. If I want to spawn a barrel in here, I can, I don't know, throw an elastic onto it here. And if I throw the, actually, I guess I'll use my grab gun here. You can pull out your grab gun if you've ever played Half-Life 2. That's how, same thing it works, how it works in Half-Life 2. You can pick props up by right-clicking with the grab gun, set them down again, or you can blast them by left-clicking. And just like that, the elastic is holding on to the prop, but the elastic will stretch, just like elasticity. But then when I release the mouse button, it'll fly back at me. That's just how elastic works. And yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with that also. I personally don't use this one too much, but I'm sure you could find a way to use it wisely. Next up is the hydraulic. This has got to be one of my favorites. Although I normally use the wire hydraulic, but that's a whole nother video. So let's say I have a barrel. I have another barrel. And this barrel is frozen. Oh, that's another big thing that I forgot to mention. While you're moving your props, if you have it in the air, you can right-click and it will freeze there. That is a very big important part of building that I forgot to mention, that I overlooked just because it's such a natural thing that I do. But to unfreeze it, you can just left-click on it again, or you can press R. But be mindful of that, the fact that if you have two props frozen in the air and you press R in between them, they will both fall. So it's pretty much an unfreeze all button. So if you want to just specifically unfreeze certain props, make sure to just do the left clicking. So with the hydraulic, let's say I want to, I have no idea. Oh, okay, that's an add-on that didn't get disabled. My bad. So with the hydraulic, I want to move these barrels apart, so I can click on the hydraulic tool. I do not want them to contract, I want them to expand. This can go either way. I don't want them to do it too fast. And I definitely want it to be fixed. This means that it will not just push apart, it will act like a slider, which is another constraint on here for later. And I want it to be visible for you, just for the purposes of the video. And if I click here, and then I click here, it creates a hydraulic. Now if I unfreeze this, it will still stay in the air, and that's because it's fixed. If it was not fixed, it would fall to the ground. But I had the hydraulic key bound to numpad 0, so if I press numpad 0, nothing happens. There we go, okay, that one was frozen. See, it will extend this way, and then if I press it again, it will contract it back. That's the basic principles of the hydraulic. I really like this tool a lot because you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. And yeah, it's hydraulic. Next is the motor. I do not use this one too much. It's a little bit better for wheels than the axis tool. Like if you wanted to do like the back wheels of a car or something where all the power comes from, you could use the motor tool. But I guess I'll spawn in the filing cabinet again. And let's say I wanted to have a... Oh, I really need to get rid of that add-on. Let's say I wanted to have a clock spin on it. I could click on the motor tool, go to the back of the clock, left click on it, and then click on this. Now I have the... And make sure you unfreeze it too, or else it won't spin. I have forward set to numpad 8 and backward set to numpad 5. And so what that will do is make it go forward or backward, quite obviously. And see, it'll spin as I hold down the 8 key, and I can stop it by holding down the 5 key to slow that down until it eventually starts going in the opposite direction. I can still get it going that fast, and I can stop it with the left mouse button, just like that. And then once again, you have all of these options that you can set. It is no collided, and you can toggle it if you want. I just prefer to have it held down. And obviously the torque is how fast it spins in a nutshell. And so yeah, that's the motor tool. You can use that for cars and a lot of other stuff, but mainly cars. Next is the muscle. This is very similar to the hydraulic. The main difference is It's a little more bouncy. Yeah, I personally don't know why you would use the muscle over the hydraulic. I guess it's yeah, I don't use the muscle too much, quite obviously. Um, so stay away from the muscle. I uh, I don't see why you would want to use this over the hydraulic. But anyway, that's slightly embarrassing. Precision and precision alignment are add-ons that did not get removed when I clicked on disable all, which is very odd, so you will not be seeing these. My apologies. Next is the pulley, which is another tool that you can have a lot of fun with if you know how to use it correctly. So it's pretty much a pulley system. Let's say I have a barrel here, a barrel up here, and a barrel that is here. Let's put it off the ground a little. What I can do with the pulley is click on the top of this barrel, click on the bottom of this barrel, click on it again, and then click on here. Now I formed a pulley between these two objects. So it's just like a normal pulley system works. If I pull on this one, that barrel will go up. And this is the point, like the actual pulley, if it were to be like a block and on the wheel and everything. And this one goes up, it works the same thing. So you can do a lot of cool, same way. You can do a lot of cool stuff with the pulleys, like drawbridges that actually work using the pulleys instead of hydraulics, which would be the approach that most people would take. You can do a lot of cool stuff with pulleys. I personally don't use them too much, but they're definitely a cool constraint. Next up is the rope. This is very similar to the elastic, except it's not elastic. Um, you probably do not want to do rigid, and don't put a force limit or add length. That's just if you're going for a certain, um, I guess, effect. But pretty much you have a crate up in the air, and you can have a crate here, and you can hang them from each other. You click there, and you click there, and you've got yourself a rope. It can swing freely, just like on a rope. Um, it's pretty useful for several tasks. I don't have any examples right off the top of my head. It's pretty general. Um, if you do click the rigid button, like it had been set on before, and you click the two of these together, uh, okay, yeah, that was a bad example. Let's say, for example, I put these two together. Um, if I push this one, that one will move also. That's what the rigidity means, or rigid. It'll still move freely, but that the rope will not condense. Um, it will always remain the same length. So you can use this as a replacement for like a flat bar or something. If you want two props to push against each other, you can use the rigid rope. It's pretty useful in several occasions. Next is a slider. I was touching on this earlier with the hydraulic. You can use this mainly for elevators is what I find myself using the most. If I want to just throw my barrel in the air, I can slap a slider on the bottom. If I just click the right mouse button, it will form the slider directly from the bottom of the prop to the ground. Now, if I were to click the side of the barrel here, it's not doing anything. Okay, it was on 0, that's why it was a problem. Okay, I keep everything on 0 because it looks nicer that way, but for the tutorial purposes, I will go ahead and stick it on a width. So if I right click on the bottom of it, it will form a slider to the ground. It will form the slider off of the direction that you click on. So I don't know why it's not working off the side. It will normally work to the world, but I guess it's not wanting to do that today. Maybe I can stick a crate above it and if I right click on the top of the barrel, it will form a slider to the crate. Now pretty much what this does is it makes the barrel go along the slider course. Um, so as you can see, it will not move left and right, it will just move up and down. If I wanted to, okay, not expect that to happen. Garry's mod has a few glitches. That is one of them. Constraints can tend to go a little bit crazy. But just to prove a point, sliders will work sideways, not just down. I want to probably freeze that. And this will move sideways from that barrel. And yeah, it's a slider tool. It's very useful for elevators, as I said before, and many other devices that you're building. Next is the weld tool. I use this definitely the most out of all the constraints. What this is going to do is weld the two objects together. If I click on this object and click on this object, I will pick both of them up. This is very useful if you're building a car. You want to weld all of your parts together so that they move in unison and do not fall apart. That's very important. Next up is the winch. This is pretty much a hydraulic, but you decide when it's going up or when it's going down. So let's say I have this prop here, and I want to send a crate to the ground. I can get out my winch tool. Do not want that speed to be so much. I'll raise the width for you. Click on this, and then I can raise it up. Oh, there we go. That raises it up, and then I can lower it down to the ground by pressing the two buttons that I had already designed. Or that's really weird. But yeah, pressing those two buttons will make it go back and forth. This is very useful for what I'm demonstrating here with the lowering things to the ground. Generally don't use this in too many contraptions, but it's pretty infinite. And it's a pretty cool tool. Moving on, you will not see any of this or that. This is the balloon. You choose your models, choose your color, rope length, and the force is how much it will pull up on it. So if I have it at, let's say 32, and I stick it on top of this crate, it's not going to do much. It pulled on it a little bit, but it's really not enough force. But if I slam this all the way up to 2000, that box is flying. So that's what balloons are pretty useful for. I don't really use these too much, personally. You can use these for making a floating chair. That was something I was screwing around with a lot when I was first getting started, if you want to try that. Buttons, I really don't use these too much with the normal tools. I prefer to use it more with the wire tool. But that, once again, is another video. I will come back to these later when I get to the dynamite, which is next. So pretty much the dynamite, this is really fun for screwing with your friends. If I throw this all the way up, throw this all the way down, I can spawn in two dynamites, press my key, and they'll explode. This is very useful for nothing. I mean, if you have a little box next to it, and you click the button, it blows up the box. That is fairly fun to do. Same thing with zombies, which if you go to the NPCs tab up here, you can navigate to the zombie section, click on a zombie, and it'll come at you until you click the button and you blow it up. This is very fun to just mess around with NPCs, players, anything that moves, anything that breaks. It's fun. And going back to what I had previously said with the button, if this is numpad 0, I've got my bomb, I've got my button, numpad 0. I think that was screwing around with something. And let's say I want the do not press button, I believe. Yeah. This is going to simulate the button that I have here. So if I click on this, let's get a little bit farther away, and I click this, it will explode because it's telling the game that I'm pressing my 0 key, even though I am not. When I press the button, and that's the same key for the dynamite to blow that up. So I can press the 0 key like that, or I can press the button like that, and it'll both blow up the dynamite. Next up is the emitter. You can choose all of these. This is fun for a lot of things. Let's just do sparks. Let's not put it on any delay. And let's throw the scale all the way up. Now this is, you're going to put it down, and you're going to press the key it's bound to, and it'll just throw anything it's set to up into the air. It's not too useful. If you want to show like I don't know, some sort of trap or something where it's spewing some sort of oil all over them, or strider blood, I suppose. You can do something like that. You're not going to have a fading door tool, once again. You will have hover balls though, and that's very fun. If you stick one on a wooden crate, press the plus key, it's flying into the air. This is very useful for hovercrafts, just like hover balls. It goes up and down, but that is it. It's just up and down. It's not side to side. And if I, let's say, throw them onto all four corners of this crate, it will lift it up evenly and it won't wobble like so. If you just have one like I had before, it's going to wobble a lot. So you want to have at least one on every corner of whatever you're building. And then you can change all the settings here and what keys to it, as I showed with the first one, the axis, how you can change the key that does things. You probably want this to be a low number. Resistance goes with the thrusters, which is definitely later in the tutorial. If you have this all the way up, it's going to be very difficult for the thrusters to push your object that the hover balls are connected to. So you generally want to keep the resistance low, unless you don't want it to be pushed easily. And then the strength is, as said in the blue text below, if the ball is strong, it will be able to hold heavier objects without falling. So that's pretty much just a very light crate compared to a dumpster. These much heavier objects. Let's set this all the way down to 0.10 and do a comparison. Same key, but that one's going into the air and this one's not. That's because the strength is much lower. Moving on is lamps. You don't use this one too much. I guess I don't have a toggle key on it, just to prove that I don't use it too much. But you can change all the settings. You can mess around with this. I'm just going to show you what it does real fast. You can press the key that I set it to, turn it on and off. On this particular map, this is a little bit dark. You can freeze it down here, turn it on, and it's a very bright hallway now. So that's what the lamp does. Next is the light. Very similar concept, except that for the fact that it just hangs there. You don't move it. You can toggle it on and off, which I can't remember. Yeah, 5. But it hangs there. You can change the rope length, and it hangs lower. You can change the brightness, which is gonna hurt. Yep, that hurts. And then the radius, you can make that very small, or you can make that very large, as it was before. Don't want to stay on that for too long. I'll change the color if you want, and then the toggle. Next up is the measuring, and just kidding, that's an add-on. Next is no collide. So we see these two props here. If I hit them, they're gonna push each other, just as physics would expect. But if you click on both of them with a no collide, they will go right through each other. This is useful for building cars, and you don't want props to collide. Same thing with a barrel, but if you right click on it, then it's no collide with everything, including yourself. This is another way to get out of props, and if you can't no clip, you just right click on it and it'll disable all the collisions, and you can get out of it. That's the no collide tool. You're gonna use that a lot for building. It's pretty useful. Physical properties, I mainly just use this for super ice. I mean, there's not too many uses for it. For example, if I have this here, oh, that's annoying. Um, if I have this here, and I have it slanted down like this, that's actually, let's do a comparison here. I have two of these facing down. God, two of these facing down. One of them is on super ice, like this one, and then the other one is not. And I want, let's say, a lamp. I drop it on this one, it slides right down. But if I drop a lamp on this one, it just stays there. That's because I changed the properties on this one to slide. There's several properties, and this is just how it behaves. Um, you can pretty much play around with all of these. Each of them behaves a little bit differently. That's up to you to mess around with. The remover is just like it sounds like. Left click to remove, left click remove. That is actually the third way to remove things. I showed you two previously, two previous ways. That's the third, and that's probably the most easiest. My bad. Also with the remover, let's say you have these two props welded together. If you take the remover tool, right click on this one, it takes them away both. It's everything that's constrained together. So be very careful if you're trying to remove a specific prop. Left click, do not right click, because that will remove your entire invention that you probably spent a long time on. And you would not want that. Stacker is an add-on, very useful add-on, but nevertheless an add-on, so I'm going to skip over that one. Next is thruster. You use this one a lot for planes and cars and everything. So let's say I have a vending machine. I stick a thruster onto it, which, by example, let's use this one. Stick it onto the side of it. It's very high thrust. Let's just lower this down a little bit. And I press the up arrow key. It's going to push it over. And I can press the down arrow key to have it do reverse thrust, or the up arrow key to do it and have it do forward thrust. We can change the sounds as seen here, and then the effects like flames. I just prefer not to have any effects on it. But yeah, that's pretty much the thruster. You can mess around with all the settings, like I've said millions of times this video. You can change all the settings, the force, toggle, collide with attached object. It's pretty basic stuff that you should be able to understand. Weight's an add-on. I think wheel's an add-on. Nope, wheel's not an add-on. My bad. So if I go to the wheel tool and I click on a wheel and stick it on the bottom of here, I can press the buttons that I have assigned here, 8 and 5, and it will spin. And see, I'm changing the direction here by pressing the 8 and 5 key. That's pretty much a wheel. You can use that for cars, just like the axis and the motor tool, as I was saying previously. This is probably the easiest way to do it. That's the motor tool. You can change all the options like previously. Wing tool, keypad is all add-ons. My apologies. The eye poser. Okay, so you can. A lot of people in the game are into scene creation. I wouldn't say a lot of people, but some people are into scene creation. That's what you see on the title of the game. So if you want to start that, you can go into, let's say I want a Team Fortress character. You can go into the Team Fortress tab, assuming you have it downloaded. And let's say I want the spy, because that is my favorite character. And I have a spy here. I can pick him up using the fizz gun and dangle him there. It's looking pretty dead. But if I want the eye poser, all I have to do is left click, and as you can see, they're parented to my cursor. So I can make him look left and make him look right and up and down. It's getting a little bit creepy with all the white though. So see, it says right click to make him look at you, and he's looking at me now. And look at me now. So I mean, that's just for posing, as the tab suggests. I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of him. My bad. So I have 3 other tools to do. Next is the face poser. I can click on his face, and now I have all of these settings here. You can just do a whole bunch of these sliders. You can see he's smiling now through the screen. See, it's just all of these sliders that you can experiment with. You can randomize it. Oh my god. What have I done? Okay, don't click randomize. Ever. Let's say, oh gosh. I'm just gonna get rid of them. Don't click the randomize button, whatever you do. That's not going to help you with your posing. And also, don't freeze his head. That doesn't generally help. You want to grab him by the torso. That's the best way to freeze him. Next is the finger poser. Left click on his hands. Sorry, right click on his hands. And then you have a nice little selection here, and you see as I move his thumb on here, it moves his thumb on there. So now his thumb's sticking at a very odd angle. It looks like it's broken. And you can do the same for all of his fingers. So see his pointer fingers right here. Just kind of move that around. His itchy trigger finger, I suppose you can say, as the spy. And so yeah, that's posing if you wanted to put a gun in his hand or something like that. For posing, if you wanted to submit it for the opening pictures, you could totally do that. But if you're a beginner, you probably don't want to get into that yet. Next up is the inflator. This is a fun tool. You can left click on his body and it gets big. Just like the name suggests. You can click on his head and it gets very big. You can have a lot of fun with this tool. It gets a little bit odd, as you can see. You can do some weird stuff. And then you can right click on it to make it thinner to a point where it disappears, which is definitely weird. So yeah, you can mess around with all the posing. I have it closed just because I just almost never use it. Next is the camera. I was showing that off earlier. You can click it down. If you left click, it points where you're facing. If you right click, it points towards you at all times. You see if I left click, it does not follow me. It just stays facing where it was. But if I press the key, it just shows anything like myself, and anything in front of it. It's pretty much just another set of eyes somewhere else. Next is the color tool. Let's say I have this crate again, because I seem to be using the crates a lot for this video. This is the opacity. I have this down a lot because I do a lot of invisible building in Dark RP, but that's another video. Once again, throw this up, throw the color on red, click on it, you have a red crate. This can just be used for building, make it look better. If you don't like the color of the props you're using, you can change all the effects to make it do some weird crap, but I generally don't use that too much. I mainly just stick it on opacity 0. Now it's invisible, but you can still run into it. Next is a material. It's very similar to the color. It takes a little while to load. You won't see a lot of these materials because they're add-ons, as said many times in this video. I believe this one is in the standard game though, so if I click on this one, it applies this material to the crate. It's similar to the color, except it's different. Yeah. So it's more of the material, I guess is in the name. But let's say I want a red crate, but it has this weird checker. Okay, let's turn that off. It's bothering me. It has this weird checker pattern that I apply with the material, but it's red. So you can add the color on top of the material, just to make it very odd. Let's get rid of that. Next is paint. I don't use this one like ever, but if you left click, it just paints them onto the ground. And you can right click and for slower. I really don't find myself using this too much. I don't think you will either. You won't see RT camera. I use this one a lot when I began. It's trails. If you click on one down here, there's several. I like the tube the most. So I want a green tube. That's very big. It's very long. And I click on this crate. If I throw this crate, it leaves a trail behind. And that's that. You can do like Tron bikes and stuff. And it slowly fades. If you right click, it completely takes it away. Just demonstrate that. I'm just gonna right click, it removes it all away. That's how that's done. And that's it. I've covered all of the tools. That's a very long video. And all the spawning, I guess I touched on NPCs. I'll go ahead and touch on the vehicles tab because that's pretty important. You'll see chairs and you'll see Half-Life 2. I like the Jeep, so what you can do with the Jeep is you spawn it in, walk over to the driver's seat, look at the seat, press E, and you'll get into the Jeep. You can press W and ASD to go backwards and to the left and everything, just how you move your character, but it's like driving a vehicle. You can press Control to go into third person, which is how I prefer to drive. And that's vehicles. It's pretty much the same for all vehicles. You always press E to get into them. Each one's a little bit different. And then the chairs, same thing. You can just sit in them, but you can't drive them unless you've made like a motor or something with to move yourself around in a car. Next is weapons. You will mainly see Half-Life 2. And then these are the weapons that you pretty much spawn in with. I guess you don't have slams, so let's see, I should have a slam some here. I guess it's an add-on too. But pretty much all these are weapons that you can spawn in. And they'll appear in your hotbar. I'm cycling through this with my mouse wheel. And you can use them to kill zombies. Excuse me. And just a lot of stuff. These are all add-ons for weapons that I have. That's a very large part of Garry's mod. And yeah, you won't see this. You'll just see Half-Life 2, maybe other. And you just go into the add-ons and you can get more weapons and everything, custom weapons. But let's say I fired all the shots of my RPG and I want to replenish my ammo. I can go to the Entities tab here, go to Half-Life 2, and I can click on the RPG, and I have one more. That's what the Entities tab is all about. It's interactable props, interactive, there we go. Interactive props. Interactable. Never mind, that's not the point. So it's pretty much props that have some sort of script with them, including like the helicopter grenades. You spawn that in, pretty shortly it explodes. That's a script to make you do that. There's also a prop of the helicopter mine. It does not explode. That's what sets it apart. And you also have all your ammunition down here. You have a suit. If you walk into that, okay, if you walk into that, then you can get the suit batteries. And so you have 100 suit now, and let's see, let's go and spawn an RPG. That just took away 96 of my suit. That did not I mean, it did hurt me, but oh my goodness. I'm coughing all over the place. It hurt my suit, but it did not hurt my health. So that's something you can experiment with, so you don't take as much damage. That would have killed me, as seen previously, with the player model change. But the suit absorbed the impact. That's pretty much the entities, and that's pretty much everything else. You're not going to touch post-processing too much, but just to show you. Let's say I want to throw in teleport. I have a really weird overlay over my screen. That's pretty much all post-process is. It's just changing the way you see the game. That's kind of painful to the eyes. It's pretty much that. I don't touch this too much. I guess if you wanted to record a video or something, you could turn one of those on, but most of them are pretty ugly. I went into too much, fortunately. But then finally, I think I'm going to end on the Dupes tab. This is where you can see user submitted material. So let's say this isn't the currently popular section. I'll spawn in a skydiver, I guess. Left click and okay, never mind. Let's not do that one. I guess let's do the yeah, Parthenon. I click on deploy and I'll spawn my duplicator. If I left click with a little bit of lag, it should spawn in a Parthenon. Alright. Now, if I am not mistaken, I believe this is destructible. No, it is not destructible. Okay, so well, there you got the Parthenon. That's what the duplicator tab is all about. You can spawn in props that people have submitted to the workshop. I have my own dupe. It's this little car here. And I also have this tube that was mainly for me, but this is my only public dupe. You can look at the ones that you've seen, which is just my car. I like it, but no one has liked it, so, you know. Anyway, you can go to the top rated tab, and you've got all the dupes there. I've always liked this one. I've always thought it's really cool. Spawn that in. Sit in the seat, and someone has made the hover balls, and you can go up and down and WASD to move it around. I think this is pretty cool. I used to always mess around with this, but it's just stuff like that. You can explore. You could probably look at all this stuff for hours just because there's so much material. You won't be able to see all of it. A lot of them use add-ons. This one I love to use. You can hold down the mouse, I guess it's up arrow, and then press spacebar to detonate. It's very fun to mess around with these. This is a very big part of Garry's mod. Well, if you're into that sort of thing. And finally, I know I said I would end on the dupes, but I will go ahead and touch on the options tab. I guess that is, I mean the utilities tab. You're just gonna see these two here. If you're on a server, these are the only two that are going to be accessible to you. If you're in a single player game, you can click on the cleanup, see how there's the dead bodies, there's the black stains. If I click on clean up everything, it's just like I just started the map. Everything is gone. Even the stains, even the bodies, everything is gone. And then you can go specific with like the dynamite. It just removes the dynamite on the map, stuff like that. Settings, this is max for the server, your single player server. All the settings and everything you need to know. Well, I think that concludes the video. It was much longer than I intended it on being. But I think I covered a lot of the basics for people. I hope you watched this all the way through, Caden, because I made it specifically for you. And anyone else who watched it this far, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. And please stay tuned for future videos. Hopefully on some Garry's Mod game modes, maybe some wire mod tutorials, building tutorials, I guess. Just all sorts of that stuff. I love Garry's Mod. I love taking requests. Just please leave a comment if you have any thoughts to share, ideas on what I could do better, what I did do well, any stuff, anything like that. I'm so good at speaking. So thanks for watching, and that's it. Thank you.